Yeah.
Second. Apparently our microphones aren't coming through. Hello? Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, your mic's not coming through, Gary.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go.
Everyone can hear us, I think. Sorry, chat.
Oh, no.
Okay. Chat, can you hear us?
Yeah, we're
Hello.
talking. So, how are you doing on the Christmas shopping?
Horrible. I feel like I've been so busy, but thank God for Amazon Black Friday. Like, I did quite a bit of shopping then.
Ooh. All right. I got Gary. I already showed him this before the stream. You can put me full screen for a sec. Well, tech. I found this at the Rose Bowl swap meet. It is a record
vinyl?
album from 1972.
What?
It's music inspired by Lord of the Rings. This is an original pressing. Merry Christmas to Gary,
cool.
to Nerdrotic.
Check.
As he is known. And here you go. I've
Very
never
cool.
heard or seen this and can't wait to listen. Gary, coming to you in its rightful home in your collection.
You can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, chat. That was my fault. Blame the diversity.
Just hit default when it says
another DEI disaster.
You just hit default. I know, man. My diversity hires are still better than everybody else's.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can I say? What can I say? What's up? Okay. What was I saying before? That nobody could hear.
Why we're early.
Why we're early is because I was supposed to be on Pierce today, but I got pushed. Me and Drinker got pushed for Peter Thiel. Understandable. Totally understandable. So but we kept the time anyway because Chris has a big interview later today. So you want to tell us about that?
Yes. Justine Bateman is coming on the Hollywood on the Rock show. She'll be on our show at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. We're starting the show at 1 to go over some news stories. And then Alan and I are going to talk to Justine. She has been, if you follow Justine Bateman on Instagram or X, or she writes articles now, and she pivoted her career from an actress when she turned 50. She started directing. She made some movies, writing, and I don't know. She has been on fire. Yeah, I think her big thing was, well, a couple things. She said, gosh, now we can stop all walking on eggshells after the election. And then she was critiquing. She does it with a sense of humor. She was critiquing the meltdown videos, but making critiques about the lighting and the shot choices and critiquing it like a film, right? It was hysterical. She didn't talk about the content, just the way they were shot and why the filmmakers made choices. And it was obviously she was having a little light fun. And I think she has been misunderstood by many of her peers in the industry. And I don't think
shock.
I don't think she gives a fuck. She is Gen X, and that's a Gen X trait that we're all born with. Gen X, don't fuck with us. We don't care what you think. And then even someone tried to bait her into like, what do you think of your brother? Who voted, for Kamala? What do you think? It's like, I love my brother. And
I don't care how he voted. Yeah.
I don't care. It's my brother.
No, she came across my radar when I was doing research for the Hollywood is Fleeing Woke Hollywood video.
Right.
That's a month ago now.
Yeah.
And this article just came across randomly from a site I wouldn't normally. It's kind of a medium. It's where she just basically blogs. And it just said Hollywood is dead. I'm all, ooh, that's interesting. And then I read the whole thing. I read it in a live stream, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, she's on it. She knows what she's talking about, obviously. And yeah, it's kind of great to see her blowing up out there. And you know, she's been on Fox News now. She's going to talk to you guys. And she's right. You know, Hollywood now has to face a reckoning. See, I said it in the title, of its behavior over the last 8 to 10 years. And now people are like, Zachary Levi came out recently and said, no, you know, my stance on Trump hasn't affected my career. If he had said that stuff 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, his career will be over. That's how much has changed. And now they're going to have to thread the needle and keep all the wolves they've let in the door happy and still make money. Good luck with that, by the way, because we all know what has to be done, a purge. And some places have tried to do that, not to the level of Twitter, but they need to. Remember, Twitter was 70% gutted? More?
Yeah.
70% gutted.
Better.
And runs better.
Yeah.
And now it runs better. You barely noticed the difference at the time, and now it runs better. Same thing needs to happen for the entire industry of Hollywood. There's too many redundancies. The unions have, I know people go, yay, union. The unions have put, like, this isn't fucking, they aren't port workers, okay? These are artists. And there's too many redundancies, especially in middle management and in the corporate structure. That creates problems. Risk aversion creates problems when you're trying to create art. I'm sure you're going to get into that later. It's like they're just afraid to do things. You know, you can't have like, we seriously went through an era where we can't have a dude saving a girl. They got rid of most, you know, like if you look at the early MCU, comic books are slightly soap operas. Okay, they always are. So there's always some girlfriend or wife involved. Well, because of fridging, they got rid of pretty much the heterosexual relationship in Marvel. Like, everybody's just buddies. You're my friend. It's one of my problems with War of the Rohirrim. Review will come out tomorrow.
Force Awakens, no romance. That was the first thing I noticed.
Is everybody asexual? How do they fucking procreate?
It is, you know, Hollywood needs its own Doge. They need a department of Hollywood efficiency.
Yes.
Hollywood needs its own Doge. I'll tell you okay, COVID compliance officer. And by the way, I put on an awards event every year called Award This. We award super small indie movies that don't get attention. Anyways, the year that COVID,
can I interrupt you real quick? Did you give yourself an award for Attack of the Show? You should have.
I did not do that. I thought about doing it.
I'll give you one. That was best documentary of that year. Okay.
Well, thank you.
You get my award.
The one year they told us we couldn't do it in LA, I was like, F that. We did it at a drive-in. We built a drive-in on top of a parking structure in Santa Ana, California, and we did our show. But we still, the grift, we had to pay a COVID compliance officer to look around. So, COVID compliance officer, intimacy coordinator, the DEI stuff. They are grifts. Those people don't make movies. They just suck off the teat of the budget, which they don't have the money anymore. All of those departments have nothing to do with making a good film. So get rid of them. Even the movie, you're not going to see this movie. You're never going to see this movie. Daniel Craig in the movie Queer.
Oh, it's on my list for holiday viewing.
It's based on a William Burroughs book. I mean, he was an old drug addict queen when he wrote it.
Yeah, he shot his son.
I mean, William Burroughs, controversial figure.
I know all about.
You know all about him.
I know
you do.
Yeah.
He's
Naked Lunch.
Anyways,
you know, yeah.
Yeah. So William Burroughs, based on a William Burroughs novel, and Daniel Craig. I mean, there's some nearly explicit male-on-male action with Daniel Craig and a gentleman. And they kicked out the compliance officer. They're like, well, it's very technical, those kind of scenes, like sex scenes. Not sexy, very technical, you know. So they kicked the person out. He said, I don't want to deal with this BS. The artists will figure it out. You know, there's always going to be a-holes in Hollywood. It's not going away. That's why there will always be a small percentage of people that are genuinely racist. But I think it's like so small, it's like not worth paying attention to. Don't give it oxygen.
And that was essentially the Hollywood and the mainstream media and social media and every corporation now were trying to push that the freaking Fourth Reich was on the rise. Like, it's right around the corner, man. It's right around. There's a Nazi right around the corner. They're coming to get you. There's a Nazi under your bed. There's a Nazi in your closet. It was the woke satanic panic, but worse.
Oh,
we had a fucking decade of this shit.
It's still going. There's a movie.
It's still going.
There's a movie called The Order that came out last Friday. Another movie you don't know about, but it stars Nicholas Hoult, and plays a white supremacist trying to overthrow the government. Jude Law. It's played like a really good thriller. I mean, the movie was like, I'm all in. This is like, they just played it like a straight up Heat like thriller, and there's violence, and it was really good until the end when they had to do a J6 analogy to like, see what happened then, what about now? They are pushing that narrative so hard, trying to make that happen, not let it go. It ruined the whole film for me. I was like, this is a good thriller based on real events, but
it's weird. I mean, like, I'm all for it. Like, Nazis suck. I think that's a pretty obvious statement. I'm all for like Indiana Jones beating the shit out of them. I'm all good for it. It's just weird how we don't get anything about communism. You know, we see that hammer and sickle being like just unabashedly thrown around into our universities and down the streets and everything. And that one's okay.
Yeah.
Because that ideology has killed more people, a lot more people. And it seems to be like, oh, you just don't understand it. It's never been put in properly. It's like, you tell on yourselves. So, yeah, I hope we don't get 4 more years of Trump allegories and the rise of the modern rise of National Socialism. National Socialism.
I like your analogy of satanic panic, or like, like the Comics Authority. Like,
yeah,
stuff.
That's exactly what they are. The PMRC now. Like, that's what they are. Intimacy coordinators. Nothing's fun anymore. We need to bring boobs back.
Oh, by the way, Gary, quick aside. Joe Rogan had Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery.
I haven't seen it on. Oh, Roger Avery.
Dude, they do a podcast about movies. And let me tell you something. You told me something about, okay, I can't say it about Roger. You told me something about Roger. I can't say it.
Yeah.
Anyways, dude, it is so good. I mean, I love Quentin interviews because he gives no fucks. But Roger, he was in jail for quite a spell over manslaughter. I knew the sort of headlines. I didn't know the details. He tells the story and how it affected him. Dude, it's the very last thing in the show. He tells this story. It's like 5-10 minutes. You have to hear it. First of all, the whole thing's good, but the last bit, 3.5 hours, might be one of the best Rogan episodes ever. And Roger Avery dude, this guy opens up his gut and tells, it's heart-wrenching. And I just feel like, I'm not going to say too much. I feel you might feel a connection to him, or he might feel a connection to you if he knew about you. So I just feel like you have to put that on your list. You gotta really listen to it. I was riveted. So that's all
I love those. By the way, writers of Pulp Fiction, those two guys. So, 30th anniversary, bro.
Yeah.
30 years.
Weird.
I remember seeing that movie in the summer of 94, and I'm fresh out in 94. I'm just months out of the joint. And I'm like, everything's still pretty wonderful. I'm on my cloud 9. I'm like, and I saw that movie and I'm like, what it blew my, it's like, when you know a paradigm shift, and I know that they are super overrated. You're right. But when you heard Smells Like a Teen Spirit for the first time, you know something changed culturally. Yeah. You're like, oh, music just changed. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, film just changed. And we got this great renaissance, and it was happening before Pulp Fiction. Okay, it was. But Pulp Fiction came out, and it was kind of what got the attention of that independent renaissance we got in the 90s, which was fucking awesome, by the way, and will not be equaled, unfortunately. But yeah, I like Quentin. I don't like every one of his movies. I like most of his movies. I think Death Proof should not exist. It's a bunch of cackling, yakking women, and
I like the stunts in that movie.
Planet Terror, much better. Love Planet Terror and Grindhouse.
Yeah,
that one's fun.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But you need to listen to this episode. 3.5 hours. It was amazing. And I mean, Joe's already. I mean, if someone's on Joe, that conversation when it's an hour 2, hour 3 is always.
I can't wait to. I listen to like most Joe Rogan podcast. Like it's the best podcast out there. I know some rando girl who talks about the NFL like beat him like, wow, that was natural. I'm sure that'll hold. She's like number one. Everybody's like, look at her, the woman who talks about football. It's like I never heard of her. Whatever.
I never heard of her. Did she have like a meme coin, or is that the different?
No, that's
girl?
Hawk Talk. Yeah,
different girl.
Yeah, that's a different girl.
I would trust stats from Spotify and all that about as much as I trust Netflix and streamers talking about their stats. Like, not at all. Not at all. It's all marketing. It's all bullshit. It could all be paid for. Kind of like the New York Times bestseller list.
Yeah. Well, you can read articles about how to buy that, you know.
Well, you can.
You can buy
it.
You literally pay.
You can buy a spot. Yes.
It's stupid.
Now, it'll be awesome if my book ends up on it, and it'll be totally legit. No, just kidding.
You should find out, see if it's worth it money-wise.
No, I would never, ever do that.
Do it.
Not in a million years would I buy a spot on the New York Times bestseller list. Fuck that.
You can buy a star on the Walk of Fame.
You can?
Really?
About that.
Yeah. You have to pay for it?
It's like considered marketing. We did an article about it in 92. 93.
Oh, so that's how Batman got one?
I'm sorry.
Is that how Batman got one?
It's marketing.
You're telling me Batman didn't legitimately get a star in the Walk of Fame? I am fucking broken right now. I can't even say the word.
Look,
oh, no.
Look, Batman may have earned the spot on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Damn right he's earned it. He's been fighting crime for decades, Chris. For justice. He hasn't killed anybody. His ward turned gay.
WB didn't pay for it as a way to promote Batman, but I'm just saying a lot of things are kind of exposed. You go like, well, it's all bullshit. It's like, well, I've known that for years, so I don't trust anything. But
no,
whatever.
I mean that's our generation. Question everything.
Default setting. So
even me.
Yeah. So Justine Bateman's going to be on the show, and so hope you tune in.
No, I'm gonna watch. I think this is. I think it's huge that she's out there. She's talking to everybody. She has the knowledge of the industry, and most importantly, she's become like kind of overnight a cultural icon because of her Gen X no fucks to give attitude. I mean, it's just really good to see, and that's what I've been so disappointed about in our generation over the last 10 years because our generation is we want to put a lot on the Zoomers and the Millennials, but Gen X, a lot of us have been a bunch of pussies for the last decade or so. It's been very disappointing, but not all of us. You know who you are out there, and we love you.
Yeah, well,
but a bunch of them.
This is how we experience news, Gary. Right here.
Is this
it? It's I just shared right there. Share screen. That here you go. That's
this is actually a public service announcement from the Nerdrotic Nooner. The proper way to responsibly listen to the mainstream media: get some earplugs, insert earplug in ear, insert earplug in other ear, read a book.
I love memes.
I do.
So
too.
there you go. That's how you do that now.
The mainstream media is choking on its own vomit, and I am just happy about it. Happy about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the Hollywood reckoning, they're gonna. By the way, This is just hitting my head now. Jay-Z hit the red carpet for Moana.
No, Mufasa.
Moana.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I know, who cares? I agree with you.
Mufasa-wana. I don't give a fuck.
But that kind of sucks.
Some regurgitation of some regurgitation. Yeah, Jay-Z hit the red carpet because I guess his daughter's in it. What lion is she playing? Did she get in a costume?
I don't know.
Did she learn how to walk on all fours?
I think that movie
Trap
looks
game.
horrible. I don't care about it.
What was her method acting for that? Yeah, are you looking for that, X-Ray Girl? There you go. So apparently Jay-Z hit the red carpet, and it's got interesting timing. Accusations, that's all they are. A little bit of smoke around that fire, Chris, of Jay-Z hanging out with Diddy and Diddy's in jail and Jay-Z isn't. And if Diddy did all that stuff, if Diddy did it, did Jay-Z know about it? I don't know. But there's been a lot of smoke around that fire for many, 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 many years. But yeah, it's interesting that he just rolls up on the red carpet for Mufasa. And yeah, it got people talking. It got people talking. What has she got? A couple Golden Globes over her boobs? What's going on there?
I'm not complaining about that.
Okay, so what's up with the white girl appropriation here from Beyonce anyway? I mean, I don't think she's naturally blonde.
Right.
Is her skin getting lighter?
I think it actually is getting lighter.
I think her skin's getting lighter.
Well, it could be the lighting. You never know. Sometimes lighting can. I mean, I'm orange right now, so.
Yeah, you're like a reddish orange, but that's okay.
Reddish
I mean,
orange.
yeah.
I'm going to change this to a Hollywood Reporter article.
So it doesn't say grape on the screen. I thought that was better.
I don't think we're going to get away from that, unfortunately.
I don't care. Yeah. Beyonce and Jay-Z make surprise appearance at Mufasa premiere alongside daughter Blue Ivy. The family walked the Lion King carpet in Hollywood together on Monday, just a day after Jay-Z was accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in a lawsuit, which is called a blackmail attempt. I mean, like, those things happen. The blackmail attempts happen quite a bit. There's been a lot of discussion about health insurance and health care and hospitals, and not a big fan of all those and gouging people and all that. But we also have to keep in mind another thing that raises those prices, aside from corporate greed, okay, is fraud. Lots of fraud. Tons of fraud. People fucking faking it, milking the system, taking your insurance money and getting lawsuits paid out for having a little broken toe in an accident that they may have caused, but it was done on public property or it's fraud. Fraud creates a lot of problems for everybody. So that does happen in Hollywood. They're always getting shook down. That's we could put that out there. But there's also a lot of weird shit that gets covered up all the time. People who try to run out and say something either end their lives or it's ended for them. I don't know. Corey Feldman, maybe, these poor kids that they call crazy who grew up in the Hollywood system are probably crazy because they grew up in the Hollywood system. And probably addicted to drugs because they were horribly abused in the Hollywood system. So I wouldn't completely discount what they say all the time,
right,
just because they're on drugs. Maybe there's a reason. But I digress. Hollywood Reporter. Beyonce and Jay-Z made a very rare red carpet appearance on Monday night at the Los Angeles premiere of Mufasa, the Lion King. Mufasa, the Lion King, a prequel. A live-action CGI prequel to the live-action CGI remake of a 2D animated movie based on what, a book or something? I forgot what the Lion King's based on. It's like it's a classic
isn't it
story.
based on Kimba, the White Lion?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great
Stole
era
it.
for Hollywood, by the way. Just fantastic. Do we ever get a final count on how many sequels and prequels and requels we got this year? I think it's all of them.
Yeah, but the 90s was a great era between Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Aladdin. There was like an era of amazing 2D animated musicals, which was what most of those are. And everything since 2000 has been remakes and sequels and like
but this year has been
few-
particularly bad for
Yeah, it's been awful.
sequels. Like I remember at the beginning of the year looking at the new release list for tent poles. We're not talking about the indie films. For tent poles, the stuff that actually makes money for Hollywood. Well, it used to. Sorry. And I think we counted 2 movies that were original.
Right.
I think we counted 2. And honestly, I think one of them was based on a video game, but it just hadn't been made before. So which still counts as, I said, I'll count it as original. It's, it hasn't been adapted before. I think that was Borderlands. That did well, didn't it?
No.
The 12. So they're there with the daughter. The 12-year-old plays a minor part in the film, voicing. Okay, great. Blue Ivy and Beyonce both appeared in the gold dress. Blah 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 blah. They're not really getting into what people are saying on Twitter, which is, here we go. In the lawsuit, the accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, alleges that Carter and Combs did very bad things at a house party after the 2000 MTV Music Awards. So many people were asking this question: what was a tween doing at an after party for the 2000 MTV Music Video Awards at all? The lawsuit, which was first filed in October in the Southern District Court of New York, and New York just handles the justice system great. Okay,
Right.
Great place for justice in New York. Originally listed Combs as a defendant, and it was refiled Sunday to include Carter. Attorney Tony Busby, who he just sounds like
It's weird.
he sounds like one of those dirty attorneys. Isn't that all of them?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Has also filed numerous suits against Combs in the past several months. Jay-Z responded via the company Rock Nation's X, formerly Twitter. You could drop the formerly Twitter at this point. I think we could just call it X. I mean, Elon won.
Yeah.
Elon won. Account on Sunday saying that what the lawyer had calculated was the nature of the allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had an opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are, very public fashion, which he should. If he's innocent, yep, that's what you should do. But I do recall Diddy saying, I'm going to fight for my freedom, did a whole thing right before he went to jail and was denied bail 3 times. So, oh no, I won't give you one red penny, and we could get rid of it. So the fact that I don't know how much control Disney had over this, but I can't imagine Disney was like, who the fuck showed up to our red carpet?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Exactly.
But I think it's more of Disney was afraid to say no to Jay-Z. I think they wanted to. I sincerely think they will, because this is all that people are going to be talking about today. If it makes the rounds, about Moana. I'm going to get them mixed up. I don't care. Mufasa Wana 2, The Lion King prequel. Mufasa. It's all gobbledygook. Holy shit. So, as I said, Chris, the woke era is, it's not going to end in Hollywood. There's woke people in Hollywood. They're always going to push the message. If they do it in their little independent films and documentaries, I don't give a shit. I've always said, don't make fucking Star Wars wicked. Don't make Marvel wicked. Stop trying to push intersexual feminism and everything. War of the Rohirrim. It's just enough. But it's not. Everybody thinks it's not going to completely go away. But it's the desire of the audience and their lack of desire for it that will change things. You said, God, I'm going to say Moana 2.
Yeah, Moana 2.
Not a very good movie. right?
It's
You
not.
saw it.
Yep.
Had a 63% drop off in its second week, but it still made like 600 million worldwide. Right. So I'm guessing it'll probably have legs, and it has a possibility of being the only other film that could be $1 billion film this year. We didn't think there was a possibility we wouldn't get any. We got two. They're really pushing the weekend that Wicked and Gladiator have, but they've kind of fallen off. Gladiator's doing better internationally. Wicked is not doing very well internationally. So it's not going to get anywhere near $1 billion.
Well, I'll say Wicked's getting kind of a re-release over the holidays in a sing-along version that's
smart.
I don't know how big of a super chat we need to give to get Ryan Kinnell to go see the sing-along version.
He'll be singing along with it, I think.
I think he'll pretend to not like it, and then he'll love it. Let's make that, please.
Oh, Jeremy liked the movie.
Look, G&G Daily, we're competing with them now. Go there for a moment. Look, do what I do. I have one YouTube. I'm playing one show here. I got one on my phone. I have multiple streams going. I can chat here while I got, some NFL game on. Fine. Multi-screen your life. Go to G&G Daily now. Ryan must see the sing-along version of Wicked and challenge him to not sing. Maybe bring it back.
BRB, hold it for it.
FNT, have to bring it up on FNT. Do that. Wait a second. While Gary's gone, we can get away with stuff. Share my screen here. I'm going to show you.
What are we sharing?
What is it like to be in LA during Christmas? I will show you. Here you go.
Is there snow?
No, Christmas lights come out.
I forgot about these. You showed them last year.
Yes, these are Christmas lights on palm trees. Innocent. Yeah. Very innocent sight. I think you should put Christmas lights on palm trees.
Always put them on the palm trees. Make sure it's wrapped really well.
What Christmas the hell? I leave. What the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing?
It's Christmas in LA, Gary. See?
Christmas in LA. Oh,
it's called Pride.
Yeah.
Inner lights.
Yeah. Those don't look at all like a bunch of dicks spurting jizz into the sky.
It looks a little like
your mind out of the gutter, Gary.
Whatever.
Dang it.
Oh my God.
That's LA. Doesn't say LA more than that. Bunch of lit up dicks.
TTs.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, it's missing the fentanyl zombies. Where are they?
They took them out.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a hellhole your city is. Oh my God, Chris. Well,
where I live directly is nice.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I have a friend who lives right in the midst of Hollywood. It's not great. There's sketch happening kind of everywhere. Got to keep your head on a swivel.
Head on a swivel.
Really?
We were talking at San Francisco. I used to live in the Fillmore. Okay. I used to live right down from the Fillmore, but we called it the Fillmore. Uh-huh. And then down the street, which is funny because the Fillmore, it's kind of rough. It's a little rough. And then you go down the street and you have Japantown, which is kind of nice, right? But in between there's a Safeway, right, on Webster. And we called it the unsafe way. And I know many people have their unsafe ways and they have their gay ways because, yes, the Safeway that's in the Castro is called the gay way. They're closing it, it's the only grocery store in that area at all because it's not safe. It's gotten so bad that Safeway's like, that's what these cities are. They're going to turn into food deserts. And the only place you're going to be able to get food is, and I had to do this for a while in my shitty neighborhood that I lived in, is you have to go to some corner market that basically gets the stuff that the grocery stores get rid of right before it goes out of date, and then it goes to the corner market, and that's where you get your food. I had to do that for a long time. Oh, yeah. Way to go, big cities in America. One-party cities in America. You're doing fucking awesome.
One thing I noticed in LA now, there is more graffiti than at any time since I've lived here. Now, I would say graffiti in some ways is art. There's some amazing
there's graffiti art.
like time put into it where you're like, oh my God, that's a
pretty
piece of
good.
art. It is everywhere and it's garbage. The 101 freeway, it looks like crap. It's on the sides of buildings. It is taken over LA. It is like they've marked it. It's over. That Karen Bass, what a horrible mayor. She's a terrible, objectively terrible.
Oh, she shouldn't have won. She shouldn't have won. She had, like, you remember there was a 3 a.m. ballot dump for her.
There was a dump.
There was a dump for her. That, like, everybody in California, even the congressmen and women are getting 3 a.m. dumps. And it's just like, everybody in California just goes, but it's so nice here. The weather's so good. My family's here. Everything's great over here. It's like your prison has beautiful weather, but you're fucked. Well, they just swore in this new mayor for, I can't even remember his name, the gay dude for San Diego. You are so fucked. San Diego County's going to be a super sanctuary city. They voted on it. So it doesn't matter if you're an illegal and you get busted for doing what Jay-Z's accused of doing. They won't deport you and they won't report you to ICE. That is what the paperwork said. One councilman came out against it.
Wiener guy?
No, so Wiener's in San Francisco. He's up in the Bay Area. He wants to lower ages of consent. He's, like, in my opinion, a complete child enthusiast. But he's a really fucking weird dude. And probably should be on watch lists or in jail. But San Diego County voted on this. Fucking, I can't believe San Diego. Like, dude, you've been in California a long time. San Diego was red. San Diego was purple for the longest time, and now it's just fucking LA South. So the sheriff comes out and says, yeah, fuck you. We're reporting people to ICE. You don't tell us what to do. So good for the sheriff. But yeah, like San Diego, y'all lost, man. Woo. Glad I got the fuck out of there.
And okay, how long have you been going to San Diego Comic-Con? I've been going since the early 90s. I think
I've been
89.
going since I went once in the 70s. I was super young and didn't remember it, but pretty regularly since the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've seen the transformation.
Yes.
The deal was you'd go to Comic-Con in the 90s. That's when I started.
Yep.
And you'd stay at the Marriott Hotel bar.
Yep.
You would stay at
just
the
hang
Hyatt
out there.
Hotel bar. Just hang out there. You would never go into the Gas Lamp downtown San Diego because it was a shithole. It was crime-ridden and awful, and you never go. Then there was, in the late 90s, like a resurgence in early 2000s.
Well, it was the early 90s when some guy who rebuilt LA, the guy who, like, remember when Hollywood had a resurgence? It was Hollywood was shitty, and the same guy who brought back Hollywood went to downtown San Diego and did the same thing, and they did the Horton Plaza Mall, and they put Planet Hollywood in there, and all of a sudden it was clean. And it was like Market Street in San Francisco back in the day. I mean, it was just titty bars and porno arcades and hookers and pimps and drug dealers. There was one club down there that me and Melissa used to go to called Soma, and I saw Soundgarden back in the early days in the fucking basement, and there'd be punk rock shows there and stuff. But, like, it wasn't a safe place to go. And then it cleaned up and it became a safe place to go. It was really good. Well,
the Gas Lamp became a safe place to go during Comic-Con. It's the restaurants count on it. All the hotels in that area. It's amazing during con. It's getting sketch now. It's sliding back, and this new mayor is not going to help. Yeah, I always was like San Diego was always conservative in my mind. It was always
a Navy town.
Red.
It was a Navy and a Marine town. Like it was just two major bases, not little ones. The second largest Marine base and I think the second largest Navy base are there. So it was a lot of people from my generation. Their dads were in the Navy, and that's why they lived in San Diego. I mean, that's why I was there. But and this might be the last year of San Diego. San Diego Comic-Con.
What?
Might be the last year of San Diego Comic-Con. The contract runs out this year. You knew that.
Oh,
And the hoteliers want them out because the hotels are forced to give deals when they're like, it's in the middle of summer in San Diego. We can charge full price. We don't need to give deals. So they've been fighting tooth and nail. They also want to expand, like the convention center needs to be expanded. Weird thing about San Diego is they have an airport that's about 50 years out of date. They have a convention center that's too small. They did work with the Chargers. The Chargers just wanted San Diego to pay for the stadium, which I am against. But San Diego did offer them free land to build on in San Diego. And the Chargers said no because they really wanted to go to LA, so fuck Team Spanos. But yeah, they've never been really good at building things. Ever. Ever.
I associate that city with that convention. It's
part of the identity. And it could go to Vegas.
that's bad.
It's bad because in San Diego, I know other people are going, good to Vegas. Here are the problems with Vegas. You're competing with gambling. You're competing with a million other things to do. This is why WonderCon has never taken off being right next to fucking Disneyland. But you've got a million other things to do. You cannot promote it in Vegas like you do in San Diego. You can't put stuff on the street. If you do it in the middle of summer in Vegas, you can't walk around. There's no gas lamp to walk around in. It's fucking hot. And it'll just get lost in all the noise. It'll get lost in the noise. So it would never be as big as it would be in San Diego. Now, I like going to Vegas, but I'd spend a lot less time in the con. In San Diego, it's like you got the beach and stuff, and nerds don't go to the fucking beach. Nerds don't go to the fucking beach. They don't get near the water. They much rather go into the con and party. But yeah, it'll probably go. It'll probably end up leaving. They got to re-sign this year.
It'll spell the end. It'll spell the end. That sucks.
It will, but I don't live there anymore. So, oh, well. Hey, who had to take a pay cut? Well, all of Hollywood, right?
Right.
Had to take a pay cut. Here, I'll tell you. Hang on. There you go, X-Ray Girl. It's in the private chat. A good friend, Jar Jar Abrams.
What?
Jar Jar. Remember, Jar Jar. Well, let's just read that because this is enjoyable to read. It's not as enjoyable because he's still employed. So Warner Brothers continues to be the dumbest motherfucking company in America. All right. I know they got the James Gunn, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit because there are factions now. There's a Snyder faction and there's a Gunn faction that acts just like the Snyder faction. And this is DC fans, and they're fucking going at each other every time Gunn shares something. It's amazing. And I got kind of caught in the middle of it. So we'll talk about that too, but it's pretty funny. But back to Jar Jar. J.J. Abrams sets new TV and film production pact with Warner Brothers, signaling, and you're like, oh, wow, he must have got a big deal, right? Signaling the end of the mega deal era. God, who said that was unsustainable at the time?
You might have.
So they were given massive deals, millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. In some cases, $500 million to people for first look deals. So Ryan Murphy was one of the ones who got one of the bigger ones. He got the biggest one. This guy right here got the biggest one. You know what he produced for Warner Brothers?
Is it? Wait, Gary, let me guess. Is it nothing?
It's one thing. It's one thing.
What?
A woke Batman the Animated Series that they ended up canceling and selling off to Amazon. Wait till you hear how much money you got, just because if you weren't around in the channel back in 2020 and 19 when these deals were going down. And this was like fresh off of Star Wars, and he was smart. He's like, well, my name's still hot. What Warner Brothers didn't realize, because they're fucking retarded and nobody else, is this guy's name is Mud. And now it's Mud in Hollywood. Enough of his movies have failed. He's been exposed as a complete fucking fraud. as a creator. I think if I want to be nice to him, he could probably start television shows, and he's probably good at that. And he's a competent director if he's a hired gun and told exactly what to do and doesn't write the story. Fine. Like a Mission Impossible. He did good on Mission Impossible. Everything else is mystery box shit because he's a fucking fraud. He was anointed by Spielberg. Babysat his kids. Whatever. Destroyed 2 franchises. Star Wars and Star Trek. That dude right there. Also, during the Summer of Love, put up a statement while our cities were burning. And in that statement, it had a lot of things to say, but one of the things it had to say is enough white comfort. That came from his organization while our cities were burning. Go fuck yourself, Jar Jar. In every hole. Every hole. Your entire industry relies on comfort. Your industry is comfort food. I love art. I love film. It's very important to me. All of it could be wiped out tomorrow and it wouldn't adversely affect humanity. If we really want to look at it, like all we need is food and shelter. We don't need some regurgitated fucking remake of A New Hope. Back in June of 2019, Jar Jar Abrams struck a massive overall deal that would keep him in the fold at Warner Brothers, his home studio since 2006. The 5-year pact pegged. That's an interesting description there. Pegged, because he pegged Warner Brothers at $500 million at the time. That's $500 million to you, me, and Chris. That's $500 million. $500 million just to keep this guy in the fold. It had a unique structure that allowed Abrams to draw from a significant pool of money to sign other writers to overall deals. That positioned the multi-hyper hyphenate behind Felicity and Lost as not just a content creator, but a mogul whose Bad Robot production company would incubate and continue to destroy more franchises. Sorry, I just added that in there. The next generation of storytellers with Abrams and his wife, Katie McGrath, board member of the Me Too movement, by the way. The Me Too movement that was later used by Katie McGrath to force out the Warner Brothers CEO at the time, so Jar Jar would sign this deal. See how that works? Pretty interesting. Overseeing the stable. 5.5 years later, Warner Brothers doesn't have much to show for all the coin that it showered on Abrams, even as the value of the deal dropped by half because Bad Robot failed to reach the financial output benchmarks that would have triggered the full $500 million. The guy was offered $500 million. It was on the table for him, Chris, and all he had to do was make a couple of things, and he didn't do it.
Well, to be clear, is this one of those? They don't give Abrams
No. What I just said was
give him
$500 million was on the table,
right?
And he had access to it, and he didn't do it.
Do you think he was gun shy after he fucked up Star Wars? Like that final Star Wars movie was like a middle finger to the fans. It was the legacy destroyed. He, even Force Awakens was famously messed with up until the end. There's like whole characters that were cut out that they did action figures of. It was really bungled. His experience with working with Kathleen Kennedy and Disney was awful. It's been underreported. And then they had a great experience with Rian Johnson. Things really went off the rails. Then they brought JJ back because they knew he was reliable when they didn't like the Colin Trevorrow script. And then that ended up being the worst thing ever. I was at the press screening of The Faithful, right? of Rise of Skywalker, which was like one day before it actually opened. The groans when she said Skywalker at the end, Rey Skywalker, people groaned. And when that lame kiss with Kylo and he dies was just like, it was, people laughed. They were laughing, but that's at a press screening of Disney files who love it.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow I found myself there, and
remember
you know,
that
I
video?
wasn't even-
Remember that
by the way,
video of the actor's first reaction to the ending?
yeah,
That was
By
on
the
Good
way,
Morning America or something. That was making the rounds. Yeah.
I was not invited. I was someone else's plus one. That's how I got into that. I was not invited to that screening, which was the all media screening, which is whatever. Anyways, I'm saying JJ destroyed Star Wars, and then Kathleen Kennedy. Well, I say JJ killed Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy has it. She's just throwing more dirt on the corpse in the grave.
Yeah, JJ was instrumental. More people were mad at Rianne Johnson at the time. I'm all, no, be mad at Jar Jar. Didn't have a plan, bailed out on the second movie, came back in the third, and and pissed everybody off because he wasn't good. He's not fucking good.
Yes. Yep.
All right, so like even the TV shows that I liked Alias. It falls off like crazy at the end.
Yeah.
You know, Fringe. I like Fringe. Falls off like crazy at the end. So it didn't trigger the full 500 million. All right, fine. The only things he produced was the Batman, the woke animated series that everybody forgot about with, the fat lady penguin.
Yeah.
And
Oswalda
Cobblepot, and the chubby Asian lesbian Harlequin. And remember that? Everybody's talking about it. At the time, oh my God, when I criticized it, people were so upset. I have a lot of experience with DC fans. I sold them comics for 10 years. I know how they are. DC fans are more passionate than Marvel fans by orders of magnitude, more passionate. Now, is it because they have kind of a weird little brother syndrome to Marvel, even though I know they were around before Marvel? Maybe, but they're just more passionate lot. They just are. The term Marvel zombies comes from DC fans. Call them Marvel zombies. So I know how passionate they are. Like, I would say the most passionate are like Legion of Superhero fans. Like, they are nerds at another level. It's like you have to achieve you have to do some Dalai Lama shit to get to that far of a nerd level. But they're passionate. So they're going at each other. But I remember hearing a bunch of shit when that Batman woke, the woke animated series came out, and now it's just fucking... It's interesting how that happens. With less cover, we're getting that season 2. Where's that season 2 announcement? That was just around the corner. Haven't heard it. With less leverage than he had in 2019, cite what Chris just said, Abrams' team has quietly closed a more modest production pact with the studio. Sources say it will cover film and TV. It's a signal to agents and managers around town that the era of the 9-figure writer-producer mega deal has peaked. Bad Robot and Warner Brothers declined to comment. If the plan was to fashion Abrams into a cross between Bob Iger and Rembrandt, it didn't quite work. Bad Robot spent about $50 million on Warner's money, setting satellite deals with writers like Angela Robinson, Dustin Tomlinson, Jesse Nelson, and LaToya Morgan. That yielded little. Yeah, because he's a con artist. He is a bullshit artist. I said this at the time. You know what he's really good at? Sitting down in a studio and bullshitting with an exec and making it sound like he's really on top of things. He's super connected. He's your guy. And he parlayed this into a lot of money, and it was able to work for a long time. But when we started seeing the work, it's like, oh, this guy doesn't have original fucking thought in his head. He doesn't have an original thought in his head. He didn't even remember the lens flare thing, Chris?
Yeah. Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't even start that. He just went overboard with it. So it yielded little. I do believe he produced or was going to produce a pilot for an HBO series, Chris. And I think the bill ran up to $200 million for the budget for the show. And Warner Brothers just said, fuck no. The CEO thing whiffed, says one top deal maker. But this was overall deal. Heyday time in 2022. HBO Max put the brakes on Robinson's Madam X series, which was based on the immortal DC character. Last year, the streamer opted not to move forward with Tomlinson's Overlook. Not to move forward with that. Stephen King's The Shining. Nelson's Little Voice. A music-heavy ode to 20-something Inouye. I can't even pronounce that name. That was produced by Warner Brothers, released by Apple TV. Lasted one season before being canceled in 2021. And Morgan's Duster and has endured a long journey to the screen. The FBI drama was given a straight-to-series green light at HBO Max in 2020 and finally set to debut in 2025. Sources say Morgan was paid $10 million plus for 8 episodes, and I'm sure it'll be canceled immediately. The squeeze is on, and the economy is really putting a new spotlight on extravagance. You don't say. You don't say. Says Stephen Galloway, Dean. I always said death. Dean of Chapman's University, Dodge College of Film and Media Arts. This is how the meat and potatoes. This is a meat and potatoes economy. It was always a luxury business. This is now a meat and potatoes economy, and this was always a luxury business. Did you hear that, Chris? A luxury business, meaning motherfuckers need to be comfortable to enjoy a luxury business. You know what? This is the industry telling you, Jar Jar Abrams. Enough white comfort. Bitch.
There you go.
And now everybody is feeling the pinch. You're looking at layoffs, the fracturing of some of these big companies, the debt load that's taken on. We're not in a recession, but we are in a recession economy. No, Hollywood is in a depression. And we are in a recession. They've just fudged the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. We have been in one for a couple years. They just changed the definitions. That's all. With the new deal, price of food. With this new deal, Abrams is no longer at the top of the shrinking ranks of writers, producers with 9-figure deals. Agents familiar with Hollywood's pecking order say Dick Wolf is king thanks to the sheer tonnage of his Law and Order, FBI, Chicago franchises across the NBC and CBS. This is followed by Ryan Murphy, Disney American Horror Story, Shonda Rhimes, Netflix Bridgerton, Dan Fogelman, Taylor Sheridan, and then there's Berlanti had 2 years left on his 120. People gave Greg Berlanti $120 million, Chris.
God.
These are fucking retards. You have so many fucking retards in your industry. Greg Berlanti produced a bunch of shows on a network called the CW, Chris. You remember the CW?
Yeah, I remember it.
The superhero CW era ended with Superman and Lois. Can you guess how much money the CW made during that era?
Is it zero?
It's zero.
That's what I thought.
You think I'm being hyperbolic? No.
Yeah.
Look up the articles. It was zero. The CW never turned a profit. It was sold for a bag of chips and some company that was willing to take on its debt. Could use a bag of chips right now.
Yeah.
Man, Clarkson's Farm, I think they stopped making their crisps. God, they were good.
Crisps.
Well, that's what they call them over there because UK is
They're
gay.
so good too, though.
Yeah, they were good. Weren't they good? They were so fucking good.
I didn't have enough of them.
Yeah, I don't know why people are like Shonda Rhimes. She has Bridgerton. Okay. American Horror Story. I think Taylor Sheridan is probably generating more money than all of those people right now. Well, maybe not Dick Wolf, but Taylor Sheridan kind of doing pretty well right now. Giving Greg Berlanti $120 million, you deserve to lose it. It's like investing in a Hawktop fucking meme coin. No, a Hawktop meme coin makes more sense than giving Greg Berlanti $120 million. But you know what? Whatever. Some, like comedy kingpin Chuck Lorre, have more complicated deals that may eclipse those of the mega earners due to the back-end compensation terms for the shows that perform well. You mean if he actually produces something, Chris, he could make more money by actually producing something. I find ultimately you get paid up front for something, right, Chris? You get paid up front, but you have to produce if you want to keep getting paid. If you want to keep getting paid, and if you keep wanting to call yourself a creator, if you want to continue to call yourself an artist or a creator, you actually have to create something.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I think that's usually the thing.
It's basic.
It's basic. Jar Jar Abrams didn't create anything, took a bunch of money up front, and didn't create shit. Do I feel sorry for Warner Brothers? No. Not at all. Not in the least bit, you fucking idiots. You know what? For the price of a sandwich and maybe a little bubbly water, they could have sat down with Chris Gore and said, hey, Chris, we're about to give Jar Jar Abrams $500 million. Is that a good idea? And Chris is going to say no. For the price of a sandwich, you could have saved $500 million. But, this is why. If volume is the key for the writer-producer, the once prolific Abrams, we won. We're so back, baby.
Once prolific.
We're so back. Hit a block at just the wrong time. On the TV front, HBO Max scrapped Bad Robot's Constantine series based on a DC property. Do you want to know who played Constantine? Okay. I don't know the guy's name. I'll just say he didn't have blonde hair. He didn't have blonde hair.
Is that Keanu Reeves?
No, Keanu Reeves would be acceptable because I like the movie, although he's not John Constantine. No, it was a black guy. I can't remember his name.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of like Snape casting. The iconic Constantine, who is known for having spiky blonde hair and smoking cigarettes with his beige Columbo jacket on and a barely tied tie. That Constantine. I wonder why they scrapped it. And I was at the time when this is before Gunn, this is Snyder thing was falling apart, and I'm like, Jar Jar is circling DC Comics. He wants to be Kevin Feige. He wants to do this. I know this for a fact. I've been told this. He's circling DC Comics, and like in a moment of clarity, I guess Warner Brothers just didn't allow that to happen. But Jar Jar wanted it. He wanted to be Kevin Feige. That was his next thing to put his claws into. On the big screen, plenty of hype surrounded an Abrams-produced Black Superman film with a script by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Who's Ta-Nehisi Coates? A racist. A commie racist. They actually had it. Yeah, he was being, he got a lot of jobs during the Summer of Love, and haven't heard his name much lately. So apparently this film, Chris, this film is still in production according to James Gunn. Do you believe that?
No, I think it's on a schedule. It's in a spreadsheet
Yeah.
of things in current development. I'd yeah.
It's very important that you say that because, like, well, things are in development. Chris just described what in development is. It's on some form of fucking spreadsheet on somebody's
It's on
computer.
a whiteboard.
So the actual work of the development was somebody typing in the title of the movie and saying in development, enter. That's the sum total of how much that thing is in development. So it's been in development for years. A Black Superman film from Ta-Nehisi Coates. The project is technically still alive, but has seen no forward movement since early 2023, and that was when they said, "Oh, we're still working on it." That was the sum total of the forward movement. Warner Brothers DC has the James Gunn directed Superman reboot hitting theaters on July 11th. Abrams did not produce the upcoming 1980s set Flowervale Street, starring Anne Hathaway. Did produce it. He did produce it. Though the $85 million thriller, which bows on March 13th, may include dinosaurs, it isn't the kind of tentpole Warner Media brass had in mind back in 2019. So what Jar Jar did was he took that money, saved all the best stuff for him. That was his mindset behind it. Then the best stuff for him dried the fuck up. And this was all he had to produce, and he did nothing. He's definitely in director's jail, for sure.
Yeah.
Or he would have directed something by now. He was talking about Kroll. Keep your fucking dirty fucking repurposing hands off Kroll.
From Krull from Abrams, it would suck.
It would suck. Even if Abrams' output had fared better, he would still be at the mercy of the marketplace. COVID. Oh my God. Are we going to blame COVID now? Yeah. Hollywood was allowed to work through COVID. And the twin labor strikes of 2023 wreaked havoc on the industry. I think some people were mentioning that at the time. Ticket sales this year, as compared to 2019, are down between 30 and 40%. You're creeping up to half. So while you're charging more, and that's what the industry is going to start doing, because this is what happens when something hits maturity and they don't know how to innovate anymore. I watched this with the comic book industry, is you start charging more money to fewer people, and it just becomes specialized. But then it's no longer an innovative, growing industry. You're just fighting death. You're fighting entropy at that point. Even if Abrams' output had fared better, he would still be at the mercy of the marketplace. COVID-19 twin labor strikes in 2023 wreaked havoc on the industry, shuttering or stalling productions and decimating the bottom line for the legacy studios. More than a year after the Film Actors Guild reached an agreement with the studios, production has yet to return to normal. That has sent the CEOs, including Warner Brothers Discovery David Zaslav, looking for gristle to trim. Well, he's been doing that anyway because Warner Brothers is billions of dollars in debt. Paramount is billions of dollars in debt. It's sold. I think, Skydance takes it over in January, Chris?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. The focus on downsizing at studios means having another look at these generous talent deals, says Jason Squire, professor emeritus at USC School of Cinematic Arts and host of the Movie Business Podcast. Warner Brothers Discovery and other studios, too, have a lot of pressure from stockholders and the board to reduce their debt and talent costs is one way to do it. Yeah, too bad they didn't feel the pressure of their paying customers, Chris.
Yeah.
It's odd because a lot of us were talking about this for many years. And I said, it's not going to, people are like, why do they keep making woke shit? Do they like burning money? They don't notice it's burning yet. That's what some of us knew and some of us didn't. Okay. I'm not going to say I knew that the whole time, but I didn't really have a grasp on how much money they had to burn. And it was a lot. So that era you saw was not natural. It was all based on It was all based on guessing. It was all based on guessing and DEI and ESG and whatever you want to call it. And it was able to get them loans, or better credit, which is essentially a loan. Gives them better credit, but it's not liquid. It's not like these DEI companies or ESG or whatever the fuck is handing them cash that they can get. No, it's better credit. And now they're massively in debt from this because they were swimming in that money that was trying to push an ideology through almost everything, through almost fucking everything. I mean, when you look back, Chris, and you see that there's a beer company that went woke, there's a reason. There's a reason that became such a cultural moment. That not
just cultural moment. It created a new verb when you budlight your company.
Yep.
Which is what Jaguar did. Jaguar budlighted themselves.
They did, but like, think about it, it got so insane that like, and it hit everything. NASCAR went woke. Fucking NASCAR. But like Bud Light, your basic bitch beer. That's the way I've always seen it. Never drank the shit. Never will.
Well, I'll go. It's like when they ask you, do you have Coke or Pepsi? And you say, well, I have a Coke. And they say, well, we have Pepsi. You're like, fine. That was Bud Light for me. Never purposely drank it, but I drank it. It's like club soda. It's like water, club soda with a hint of beer flavoring. Just a little bit.
Yeah. So when we look back on this era and just like, fucking Bud Light went woke, dude. Like, what the hell?
And that's the blue collar.
The blue collar, yeah.
Working man's beer, like it's cheap. It's, $3, or $2 at happy hour, whatever. It was cheap beer, but I don't know, man.
The same thing happened to Hollywood. So Bud Light, some clueless fucking executive, probably some nepotism thing. It's like, we need a new marketing manager. Let's get one of those Gen Zers fresh out of school, with those things, pronouns, are those adverbs? With adverbs in her profile or profiles in her profile. Let's get her to come over here. It's Tommy's niece. She'll be fine. Hollywood did a bunch of that too. Eric pointed this out with Warner Brothers a few years ago. He's, because you can go to the LinkedIn, right? And you could find the marketing. Don't do it. Don't. But this was a few years ago. You could find the marketing managers, and it was all 25-year-old women fresh out of school.
Who don't know anything about
movies. Shit about shit. Especially because they went to school and got a degree. I would have more respect if they didn't.
They work in PR departments too. They're very cheap to pay. They pay them, they get fine. They don't get paid fine. It's entry level work, but they don't know the industry. They don't know history. On this, Quentin Tarantino, Roger Avery podcast with Joe Rogan, they talk about how it's like film has this language that's evolving and passed down. So like Kubrick was influenced by those who came before him, and Avery and Quentin were influenced by those that came before them, like Kubrick and others. So it's this language that evolves. It's a business with an artistry that is passed down legacy wise. But it seems no one in particular entry level. They're just, you could do marketing. It might as well be Doritos.
Yeah.
They can market Doritos or Bud Light or whatever. It's movies, or it's the new Star Wars. And this is why it's the, I don't care what I'm marketing, and it doesn't apply.
It doesn't.
Doesn't apply. That's, I don't know. Okay. You're a fan of It's a Gundam, been on the show. Love the guy.
Love him.
His essays about the girls who work in tech, he should do one on Hollywood. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
It's a montage of like, here's my day working in tech. I went to yoga. And then I went and I got this thing. We got the free Starbucks and it's like, what do you work on? Yeah. They smell their own farts in their meetings. It's bullshit.
Do people still make those videos? I don't think so.
They probably don't make him as much.
They don't
but
make him
he
from Twitter.
oh my God, he's dug them up, and it's glorious. I mean, it's awesome.
It shows like the complete disconnect.
Yeah.
You know, like my extravagance at the parts department when I wasn't freezing my ass off back there in the garage was
Right.
the coffee was warm sometimes.
Oh, well, that's good.
The coffee was warm sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, you're right, Chris. And that's what the industry was filled with. It's also filled with like, hey, we're gonna have this entertainment. And I'm just using this anecdotally, but we got this entertainment. We got this old studio, Warner Brothers or whatever. Let's get the CEO the CEO from Pepsi. You know, because he's good at organizing corporate structure, but he sold soda. He didn't sell movies.
Right.
Oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's about understanding the corporate structure more than actually making movies and entertainment and understanding audiences and customer service. The CEOs don't know anything about customer service. And I said this early on. Hollywood comic creators always had that buffer between I don't work for the customer. I don't work for the shop. I work for whoever I contract for. Technically, that is true until social media came along. And then why are you famous? Why is Mark Waid famous? Well, you know, some people thought he was a really good comic writer for a little while, hasn't been for decades. And he also worked for Marvel and DC. That's why Mark Waid is famous. He worked for Marvel and DC. If he was writing those same comics for somebody else, he wouldn't be known by anybody. Mark Waid can walk down the street, nobody would recognize him, but he's huge, or used to be, with comics. But you're wearing your company's uniform when you're out there. You know, with my employees at the comic shop, I'm like, don't get political. If you're going to have Comic Outpost on your Facebook, do not get political.
So don't wear a BLM.
Yeah,
button
just don't.
or anything.
Now, that's it. That was my one rule, you know, because and they didn't. They were fine with it. They could have said no and not work there. That's fine. But it's because I'm selling comics to everybody. Even in San Francisco, it was divisive at times, mostly between like commies and Democrats. But you're wearing their uniform, so you represent that company. So you are in customer service, like all the time. If you want to be out there, and the reason you're famous is because you were attached to some major corporation, well, unfortunately, you're tethered to that. You know, you're tethered. Back to this real quick. The focus on downsizing studios means having another look at generous talent deals, says Jason Squire, professor emeritus at USC School of Cinematic Arts and the host of the movie. I read that all. Okay. But if, let me get down here. But if there was one unmistakable sign that new day was dawning, it was HBO pulled the plug on Abrams' $200 million plus series, which I never can pronounce this. What do you think it is? Demimonde? Well, probably because nobody could pronounce the fucking title. In 2022, due to budgetary concerns, the Warner Brothers television produced sci-fi drama was then shopped to deep-pocketed streamers. There were no takers.
Whoa.
Says one veteran producer, the Bad Robot deal was a massive coronation of JJ. He basically was a working screenwriter who Hollywood helped turn into the next Steven Spielberg. But the question is, what did Warner Brothers get out of the deal? Sorry, you were going to say something, Chris?
Oh, good question to ask. But yeah, I just think he Star Wars, I mean, I think it exposed him as being a fraud. I really,
yes,
I resent that. And the weird thing is, Jon Favreau was up for that job, episode 7. Can you imagine what Star Wars would have been if Favreau began with it? At least, whatever you think about Mandalorian, that first season and parts of the second season felt more Star Wars. It felt more like that. That sort of Old West, gritty. There were I think he would have done what you and I have complained about for years. Just reunite the characters we love, at least in one scene. I mean, I say build a whole story about them because that's who we care about. But I think it would have been very different had they gone with Favreau. And I think he saw that it was going to be a horrible job.
Yes.
and was like, I don't know, I can't commit to this because it's like 3 years of your life, and that's all you're doing. So,
Who is Oh, I'm looking at this video. Maybe we save that. I'll look at it in a second. Sorry, I was listening to you, but I was looking at articles.
oh no, it's all good, man.
Could you pull up the Sony one real quick? 'Cause since it's in our title, we should talk about it. But I also want to talk about my tweet real quick before we get to soup.
Oh, I got my Kraven tickets
I did too.
for Thursday. I can't wait for Kraven.
I'm actually going Friday morning. Friday Night Tights is going to start a half an hour later because I wasn't able to see Kraven Thursday because I'm going to see Jordan Peterson.
Oh, well, there you go.
Wife got me tickets, so I'm going to go.
That will be fun. So I am seeing a private screening with Paul Chato. He's in town.
Oh,
among
what's up,
others.
Paul?
And
is he going to come back
Oh,
to
my
Twitter?
hi.
Is Paul going to come back to Twitter?
I don't
Tell
know.
him
We'll
we miss
find
him.
out. He should be on Blue Sky.
Oh, yeah, he should be on Blue Sky.
Why not?
Why not?
And see how long he lasts. But so we're basically seeing a private screening because the theater is empty.
Yeah, I bet. Didn't somebody
No, I can't wait.
somebody put up a photo of a private screening last night that was empty?
There are a lot of theaters like that. Alan, whenever he goes to see IMAX movies every week at a theater near him, and he's always the only one. It's weird. Like, why is
Well, that's
that
most
theater
most theaters are empty. See, that's the thing that people. I know you're aware of it, but a lot of people in LA get obfuscated because they fucking go to the hometown and they're like, my theater's full all the time. So when you have entertainment hubs like, even Orlando, Florida, New York, Chicago, and Burbank, yeah, you're going to have packed theaters. What you need to be concerned with is local theater in San Antonio, local theater in New Mexico, outside of Santa Fe, local theater, outside of, Tucson, Arizona. That's right? And when I see something sold out here, I'm like, oh, fuck. That's crazy. So real quick, I want to just show this tweet because Amazon is really paying up to get on some top 10 lists for Rings of Power. Here, check this out. Total Film, the Games Radar has chosen the Rings of Power. That's when you put it up, right? When I say that, then you add it. There you go. The Rings of Power season 2 as their number 1 TV show of the year.
Really?
Yes.
Is that it?
Not a joke.
Is that
Above
real?
Penguin, above Gentleman, above House of the Dragon, above Shogun. Fucking Rings of Power. Shut the fuck up. You fucking clowns. We know this is paid for. Empire put it at number 4. Empire Magazine put it at number 4. At least they didn't put it above Shogun. They didn't mention the Gentleman. They put it above the fucking Penguin. It put it above House of the Dragon. And despite and I know there's a bunch of controversy. It didn't win any awards. It didn't deserve any awards. Okay. Because it was an unfinished series. It was still good. It still has the best episode of both series in it. But HBO made the decision to cut those last 2 episodes to have a quicker turnaround and for budget. So there's some dipshit running around Twitter going, it was because they didn't protect their minority actors. That had nothing to fucking do with it. Nobody was bitching about the actors in that. The only thing that ruined House of the Dragon season 2 for awards was Maseri is a fucking terrible character. For one, she's supposed to be a 50-year-old woman and she's played by some skinny girl who can't act. And they put way too much into her. They're like really in love with her. Steering Rhaenyra into this like good guy arc. I don't want to spoil anything. Don't name your daughters after Rhaenyra or your sons if you're so inclined. Just don't. Because her story is supposed to mirror Daenerys, but worse. Okay. So don't name your kids after Rhaenyra. She's not a good guy. Also, everything that they built up to in those 8 episodes, we're supposed to get the resolution in episodes 9 and 10, which they moved to season 3.
Yeah.
But
kind of ended just on a.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't supposed to end that way, but it was a terrible ending. It was an awful ending.
It was terrible.
It was awful ending. But and that's why it didn't get and fuck awards anyway. But like the Rings of Power, this is so funny, and everybody's seeing through it. That's the best part. Is like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Just to give you a hint, Rings of Power made one of my lists this year, which will be out at the end of the year, like every year. Rings of Power definitely made the list. Definitely made the list. I'm not going to say. It will surprise you. I will say it surprised me. So what I did with these top 5s is I just hit up the FNT crew and Drinker and Mahler and Az, and other people, and I say, give me your top 5 worst. It has to be produced by Hollywood. Top 5 worst things. And then they give it to me. And then super autistic Lady Gravemaster has some formula that she puts together and does a point system, and that's how we figure it out. I mean, I have mine, but mine does not take priority over anybody else's. It's all right. The Sony article that I popped up in there earlier about it looks like Kraven's it for the Spiderverse, Chris.
Wow.
So sad.
Why were they dumb thing? Why didn't they just do the Sinister Six? Just put them all in one movie. Why? You're not like the Avengers. They built up. They did a Thor movie. Hulk was established. A Captain America movie. A couple Iron Man movies. Boom, Avengers. You're not doing that with the Sinister. Just make the movie. And by the way, can I tell you something I heard?
Yeah.
There are a lot of Marvel cameos in Kraven, but not in the form as we know them, is what I'm told. Meaning their versions of them.
Like the Rhino that we saw.
Right. They're going to see, we know about Rhino. There's a lot apparently. So I don't know.
All right. Yeah. So Sony coming out and saying this is as stupid as, the whole taking on James Gunn thing and then sitting through 6 flops. Like, it's just, why would you? It's an insider, but why would you even fucking come out with this before the movie? I mean, the movie's dead anyway, and this thing is dead. And Sony tried. They obviously have another deal with Marvel because they are producing another movie. I would expect to hear some big news about that very soon. Big news.
Okay.
Sony's expanded Spider-Man universe may end with Kraven the Hunter. A Sony insider admits to the Wrap that outside of Spider-Man, the studio's Marvel movies just aren't good.
Hey, okay, did the insider watch the movies? Because that's how you know.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I can say they're not good because I've seen them all.
Yeah.
I am also crushed because Madam Web was such a gift because it was just a fucking bad movie. It wasn't like woke or really intersectional. Right. And it had Sydney Sweeney in it. And it was funny bad. It's something like I would probably watch again to laugh at, like to roast. Like it's funny bad. It was I had such a good time watching that. I was laughing my ass off throughout the entire movie. So Kraven the Hunter is looking up. Things for Kraven the Hunter are looking pretty dire at the box office projections at the moment, capping off what may be the final disappointment for Sony's attempt at building. Here, I can read it over here. It's easier for me to read it over here. Building an independent Marvel Cinematic Universe. The studio just never managed to get its Spiderverse off the ground. Even its successful spinoff series, Venom, saw diminished returns at the box office, which each subsequent release, The Wrap, has a new report examining Sony's many flops, Morbius, Madam Web, and now probably Kraven. And there's good reason to believe that the studio is going to drop its Marvel dreams outside of Spider-Man. Yes. Well, they have Into the Spider-Verse. They have the Miles Morales movie, right? Yep. And the Miles Morales movies do pretty good. They do. And then they completely dropped the ball on the third one.
Yeah.
So the second one, I think the music's good. I think the animation's fun. Yeah, I think, dude, if you put that thing, you want to test your 7.1 or 5.1 surround system, holy shit, use that movie. Holy fuck. But yeah, I hated the ending. And that third movie was supposed to come out this year. And now we don't know when it's going to come out. Maybe 2027? Maybe.
Will people remember it? I mean, it really just ended on a what? Why did they end it that way?
It was so dumb.
Back, it was bad.
Bad. So they're gonna do a Spider-Man Noir with Nick Cage that's animated that I'll probably watch because it's fucking Nick Cage. No, I will watch it for sure. And I did like the Spider-Man Noir comic. I did. I full disclosure, I liked it a lot. As opposed to all the movies that danced around the idea of Spider-Man. Remember, they were going to do an Aunt May as a spy movie. They were going to do Silk, the Spider Society. Yeah, none of these were good ideas. I could have saved them a lot of money again. They could have sat down with Chris Gore, maybe bought him a cheeseburger, and asked, hey, should we do a Spider-Verse outside of Spider-Man without Spider-Man? And Chris Gore would have said no. And you would have saved yourself hundreds of millions of dollars, probably $1 billion, probably $1 billion. I'm guessing you would have saved a clean $1 billion if they'd have just asked, oh, well, too bad, so sad. Sorry to see it, but I am going to see Kraven. Chris is going to see Kraven. I don't know how many people on FNT are going to see Kraven because I made him watch 2 movies this week. They got to watch 2. I'm going after him right now, just so you know. The people who talk about entertainment for a couple hours on Friday have to watch 2 movies. I know it's so difficult. It is so difficult. You know what's difficult? Watching The Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Nobody knows my pain.
I couldn't get through it.
It drains my social battery. Our job is so hard.
Oh my God.
Oh. All right, let's get the soups. Chris has got a hard out soon.
Well, can I share one thing, Gary?
Of course.
Because really quick, I was reading my latest issue of AARP. Not sure if you got yours yet. Magazine, and Michelle Yeoh is on the cover, looking very. She's an attractive older woman. I don't get
my AARP magazine anymore.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's because I moved.
Look in your mailbox.
No,
here's Michelle Yeoh.
It's a female.
Good.
Chris.
Yes.
You said mailbox. What if it's a female box?
A female box could be. But
what if it's a they them box?
I know for a fact, because I watched The Real BBC, that you saw the trailer for Section 31.
I did.
But did you see the poster?
Yes. Do you want to find that?
Yeah,
so please show
I can share it for you right now because poster.
No, nothing screams Star Trek.
Like a woman in BDSM fetish mistress gear,
stepping on a dude
with high heels, stepping on a dude. She's wearing pleather.
I saw a bunch of people doing that at Anime Matsuri. X-Ray Girl, explain that to me. You're Asian.
Dominatrix fetish.
Oh, okay. So it is what I thought it was. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
If this was Axel Braun's Sex Trek: The Next Penetration, I go like, hey, that's fine.
Oh, she's got some manspreading going on right there.
If you look at the snout,
man, her vag is open for business.
I'm no prude. Fetish stuff, it's fun in rotation when you're in a relationship. It's fun stuff. But I don't necessarily want that, and for me, kind of a Tuesday. But I don't want that in my Star Trek. I don't want that in my. I want my Star Trek to be. I'm going to get this out here. I want my Star Trek to be Star Trek. I want my Axel Braun.
Yeah.
I
want my porn to be porn.
Right.
And my Star Trek to be Star Trek.
Yes. This is not Star Trek. This poster, forget that trailer's awful, by the way. This is just, I just find this, what is this? That is a DVD sleeve for a porn movie right there.
It is. This is a bad sci-fi movie, like written by Mags Visaggio. Like this is, remember, what was a Vagrant Cunt or whatever it was fucking called? I can't remember.
I mean,
look
at this. I'll zoom in.
But
I mean, what the hell, Gary? I'm surprised you did. I mean,
there's nothing more Star Trek than a woman who was just on the cover of AARP spreading her fucking legs. And it's Michelle. Michelle, yeah, I got nothing against her. Okay. She is terrible as Philippa Georgiou. The best way to describe her performance is when your sweet dear mother on Halloween dresses up as a whore and tries to act like one. And you just go, Mom, it's not working for you.
You can't pull off being a
whore. You're too nice.
Exactly.
Okay.
So she went from this to that, and I'm like, all right. So, but look, all those things are fine. It's like you said earlier. You can't do like the Goonies with Star Wars. It's not Star Wars anymore. You're taking you're taking all these other things like Les Mis and putting the skin of Star Wars on it and calling it Andor, right? By the way, did you see episode 3 of a Skeleton Crew?
I haven't seen episode 2 or 1.
Well, it's actually better. Jude Law is good in the show.
Really?
Although
I'll
it
take
has
your
the
word
two
for
moms. It has that. Look,
I'll take your word for
better, it's like this is the bottom dropped out, and this is shit, and it's hovering above shit. Where's the acolyte?
If that is Star Wars now, I would say that's even worse. It's
right?
Like,
that's all I'm saying.
It's not shit now.
Well, Jude Law's a good actor. I like Jude Law.
I like Jude Law too. I have no desire to watch single digit age show for even shit I really like. There was that Hobbit game that came out that was for like little kids. I'm not gonna fucking play that.
Right.
No desire. But this. So here's what happened. I might even get in a little trouble for this, but I don't care. So Kurtzman Trek has been shit. That's pretty well established. Picard season 3 comes out. Not everybody liked it. That's fine. But most people like it. Most Star Trek fans were pretty happy on all sides. Everybody was pretty fucking happy with Picard. Terry Matalas went into a cave and made something out of scraps, out of absolute shit, and was able to pull it off and give Star Trek fans something Star Wars fans will never get. You know, the crew of the Enterprise on the Enterprise D flying out to Jerry Goldsmith's music. It was fucking awesome. It was an awesome moment. And then we got Unification too. So they had a spin-off series from that, which would have had 7 of 9, Picard's son, whose name I'm forgetting right now, Jack, yeah. Jack, and it would be rotating in DS9 characters. Next, Riker would be in it. It would be rotating in Voyager, DS9, and Next Gen characters throughout the entire series. And it was called Legacy. Everybody wanted that show. I personally was like, I'm good with just Picard season 3. I don't need a spinoff. I'm fine. But if you're going to do a show, if you're going to produce another show, you should probably produce that one. That would be the one that made everybody happy, the one that won awards, the one that actually fucking charted for a consistent amount of time. The only one that charted for the consistent amount of time was Picard season 3, the show that Alex Kurtzman didn't give a fuck about. They gave no money to because the entire season was a bottle episode. I mean, how much shit happened outside? Nothing. Yeah. And you know what? Those are some of the best Star Treks. Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, greatly reduced budget, bottle episode. They're just in ships for the most part. So Picard season 3 made Alex Kurtzman and Akiva and the gang, Akiva Goldsman. I don't know how this motherfucker keeps getting work. He just got a deal, by the way. I can't remember. It was from Netflix. That motherfucker keeps getting work. And it made them all look bad. It made them all fucking look bad. So they didn't renew it. They didn't consider it because Kurtzman had already had his idea to have this Star Trek Academy show. The only reason this got made, Section 31 was announced many years ago, like right after, I think, Star Trek Discovery season 1 or 2. They announced this. and they promised this was coming, and it never came. And then Michelle Yeoh won an Oscar, and that got them to do this movie, basically. So it's just about churning out content. It's not about caring about Star Trek, understanding Star Trek, or giving a fuck about Star Trek fans. And the more shit they put out, the more, the greater the chance this never comes back. And I would say, and I know this upsets some people, but and it's just reality. It doesn't make me happy either. Star Trek ain't coming back. So that unification that came out, I talked about it yesterday, Chris. That wasn't just a goodbye and a eulogy for Kirk and Spock. It was a eulogy for Star Trek. That's why it hit me emotionally. This is my goodbye that we never got, but it's goodbye. It is fucking goodbye. Because there is no chance the Hollywood of today could produce Star Trek. They just can't. They can't. They don't understand it.
Because the values that Star Trek espoused are not embedded in society today. They're just not.
No. And that's where Hollywood's existential crisis may stop. Bleeding may stop once they reconnect with the customer, with the viewer, with the audience. They need to do a lot of work to reconnect, because people who walk away quietly are very hard to get back. Very, very hard to get back. It's almost impossible. Yeah, fuck this poster. Fuck Star Trek. R.I.P. Star Trek. Chris, you got to get out of here.
Soon, but
right.
let's, I'll stay as long as I can here. I'm, Alan's keeps messaging me.
Hi, Alan. How's it going?
I love Alan.
Remember at you said 1 p.m. Pacific time.
That's when we start the show. She comes on at 1:30.
She comes on at 1:30 Pacific time. So I'm plugging you, man.
Thanks,
go
man.
to Film Threat at
Ooh.
1 p.m. and they're going to interview Justine Bateman, but you want to get there early so you can listen to the news with Chris and Alan. So go to Film Threat at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and they are going to be interviewing Justine Bateman. It's going to be big. Big interview, Chris. What's Alan doing? Is he at the grocery store? Can he pick some?
Yeah, he's asking a question, and I'm responding.
Getting milk.
He's my work
Cigarettes.
wife.
Yeah. Did you tell your work wife not to ask questions while we're on stream?
No, I actually like talking to Alan.
This thing gets turned off when I'm on stream. Sometimes people hate it, but
Yeah,
it gets turned off. Noons, 184.90. Unsolicited advice for streaming. 184.99. It's good thing we also love watching you guys. Thought we were going to have to lip read throughout the show. I love you guys and love the chat. We love you too. Thanks, Noons. Thanks, Noons. Primal Mike for 50. My hubs and I love Yellowstone. We decided to watch the prequels. Just finished 1883. Love the characters except Elsa. She made the show almost painful to watch. We are hesitant to start 1923. Would you say 1923? How would you compare 1923 to 1883? I didn't hate Elsa. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything. 1923 is better than 1883. 1883's got some good, rough Western shit, and Sam Elliott's awesome. It's pretty dark, that 1883. 1923 has some levity. It's got Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford. And yeah, 1923 is better. I think Melissa would agree with me. And we're going to get the second season of 1923 in February. There you go. M2M for $20. Also, other Taylor Sheridan stuff you should be watching is Tulsa King and Landman.
God, I just heard Taylor Sheridan on Rogan. It's an older podcast, but
it's really good.
I have not dipped my toe into any of his stuff. I know I'll like it. I mean, I know I will like it. So I'm afraid that I'll just, I have too much stuff to watch right now, but
this
next
is why
year, like
we are complementary, Chris, because
Yeah.
I watch more TV than you do, and you watch more film than I do.
Well, there you go.
I disagree with Quentin Tarantino. Still says film is still better than TV, and I overall disagree.
Yeah, he talks about that.
I
He's
completely
a racist.
disagree. I think
It's a good debate.
It's a really good debate. Film should be better because it's shorter, but you have to be better at it to make it. There are more things that how do I word this? I can't make a top 5 movies list. Now, I haven't watched every single independent film, but I've watched every tentpole, every semi-tentpole film. I can't make a top 5. You know what would make my top 5, Chris?
What?
You know what movie would make my top 5?
What?
Furiosa.
Oh.
Wow.
Furiosa.
Dang.
I liked Furiosa, but I haven't seen a great movie this year. I have not seen a great movie. Now, hopefully Nosferatu changes that, Chris.
It's very good. I want to see it again in a theater.
If I had to scrape together a top 5 of like kind of mid movies I've seen this year, Furiosa would make the list. It would probably also make the list of disasters too, because it was such a big flop. But it was well directed, and I liked it. But yeah, I've enjoyed watching streaming shows more than I've enjoyed watching movies, and I could make a top 5 list for streaming shows off the top of my head right now. Right now, that are better than any film I saw. It was way more fun watching Tulsa King season 2 than any fucking movie I watched this year. And though that's not high art, fuck that shit. It's Stallone being fucking awesome. And I said it yesterday, Chris, out of the 80s action stars, Stallone wins. He's the one who stayed pretty consistent throughout his career, didn't say things like screw your freedom. Now, there's an asterisk because poor Bruce Willis got sick, all right? So we can't really count poor Bruce Willis. Hope, praying for that dude. But as far as like him up against Arnold, Stallone wins. Stallone wins.
Yeah.
M2M for $20. Waste. Spewing up and down again. Trash. Filling up and down again. Try to think of something better. Oh my God, keep me from going psychotic. There is no entertainment in Hollywood. There is. It's just not coming from film right now. So that I get where Quentin's coming from, but Quentin's seeing the world as Quentin Tarantino, as an artist, as an actual artist. And like, arguably, no, it's not even arguably. There's 2 big directors left in Hollywood. Chris, remember when there was a dozen?
Yeah.
Remember
and
when
now
there
it's like Chris Nolan and Denis Villeneuve. That's it.
Well, no, I'd say
As far as
I'd put Quentin above Denis, but
Denis
Denis
he's not consistent. He's
no.
gonna make 10 movies and be done. So
Yes, but like a Quentin Tarantino film will get butts in the seat because his name is on it. Denis Villeneuve is getting there. He's getting there. I think he's incredibly boring for the most part. I think he did a great job on Dune. I think he did a great job on Dune, though. And I think he got snubbed, and that's fucked up. He does try different things, though, so I'm not going to say he's not an artist. Just not for me. A little slow. And prodding. Nolan is the fucking man. Nolan is the last rock star of Hollywood. Nolan can make anything, and it will fill seats based on his name alone. That's what a star is. That's what a star does. And there's no movie star that's bigger than Nolan right now. Christopher Nolan. As far as getting butts in seats and making money. That motherfucker made a biopic that was 3 hours long, that was in black and white, that almost made $1 billion. And it's like the dudest of dude things. It was how to make a bomb. I wish they would have gotten more into the making of the bomb part, but that was my complaint about it.
Yeah.
Fat Steven JFG has gifted 5 Nerdrotic memberships, $25. Thank you very much. What's up, Fat Steven? Rook Takes Rook for $19.99. My fiance is an actress. The way she defends the Film Actors Guild is bonkers. The only people who need a union are stunt people and below-the-line workers. With that, I would I mean, like, I'm not for them, but if you want to argue need, yes, I would agree that those are the people who still get kind of fucked over and it's egregious. But you also have to remember, you're making pretend. You're making pretend. Who are in physical danger. And yes, they are in physical danger. Stuntmen, and below the line, especially construction workers and stuff, sure. Sign a waiver if you want to do your own stunts. It's pretend. I mean, if you want to jump off a helicopter, that's on you, buddy. Sarah Broxis for $5 on the Streamlabs side. Shout out to X-Ray Girl. She's great. Yes, she is. She's great.
Thank you.
Simp. Odinson 99M for $10. Gen X doesn't get involved with others' affairs. We don't care who you sleep with or what's behind your closed doors. But when it came for the kids and our pop culture, they awoke a sleeping giant. You're right. Mm-hmm. I can't say that for everybody in Gen X. You would think generally we'd like to believe Gen X is the mind your own business generation. I am certainly of that ilk. Mind your own business, do what you want. I don't give a fuck. But once you start fucking with kids and stuff, and gonna say stuff, but they weren't largely like that for a long time. A big contingent of Gen X is woke as fuck. Okay, they just are.
Yep.
And that line was drawn in the sand over Summer of Love and COVID and the last 10 years, and well, just how many of your friends are left out there? Blake Sullivan for $1.99. Nerdrotic equals the best honest channel ever made. Oh, I don't know. Thank you. I don't know about that, but thank you. I do my best. Have you guys seen Fat Chris Gore on G&G? Yes, the dude is super bass, bro. Yeah, have you seen that? The Fat Chris Gore?
No.
You haven't
what
seen
is it?
Oh, it's somebody's. There's an account called Fat Chris Gore, and he's got a picture of a fat you.
I saw that picture. It's fake, by the way, but I think
it's real.
Really, I think it's super funny.
NT for $10. Once Papa Doug Manchester dies, he built the Manchester Grand Hyatt and a huge Trump supporter. San Diego will lose their last big charismatic real estate mogul and builder. SD ain't what it was. Yep.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's not, it got invaded by LA. It got invaded by Democrats, and it's starting to look like shit now. And it was a beautiful city. There's still parts of it that are utterly beautiful, but those are the parts, well, they'll fuck it up. They'll fuck it up. I saw an ad preview for a new movie the Stallone produced called on Angel Media. It's about being lost alone in the mountains. What's the name of the movie? That sounds pretty cool.
I don't know.
Ruby for 70 Zardoz. It says, Sir Gary, I've been trawling through early live Nerdrotic. Oh, why? You have gone from Cool Cat to Grandmaster, but what happened to John Reed and Dennis? Readers want to know, please. I've gone from Cool Cat to Grandmaster. I like being Grandmaster. Is that supposed to be an insult? I honestly don't know. I haven't talked to them in years. I honestly don't know. I stayed at the Hotel Roosevelt across from the Chinese Theater for a Call of Duty rap party years ago. Beautiful hotel, shocked by all the bums living in the bushes outside. What an expensive dump. This is R. Frosty for $10. I know. Angela Richter is gifted one Nerdrotic membership for $5. Thank you. Tenero for $9.99. Hey, Gary, why don't we see any videos of Kathleen Kennedy, others getting called out on the street by fans? You mean to tell me that Hollywood is so morally bankrupt that nobody will call them out? You mean calling people out in the street? I don't know. I mean, how often is Kathleen Kennedy walking down the street in Hollywood, for one?
I don't know. How often is she in the office at Lucasfilm?
Never.
How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to get in her face about that. This is what we have. We have the place for ideas is here. We discuss. We be civil. You don't get in her face. Don't do that. At this point, why even bother interrupting Kathleen Kennedy as she continues screwing up? Hopefully, there's enough positive reviews about Skeleton Crew that we can see that as her win, and then she could leave. But her leaving at this point is what's the point of it? It's not going to change Lucasfilm. It's not going to change their culture.
No,
but yeah,
I think that company needs a Twitter-like purge.
People getting called out in the street, I wouldn't recommend doing that because they can also play victim. They can video half of it and go, look, I was attacked by a Nazi. Got to be smart about this stuff. Ramblings of an ad writer. Thank you for the $10 donation. Tristan Jones, 116 on the Streamlabs side for $5. Hail. Hope you all are good. I was wondering what you guys thought about the new secret level Amazon show that basically just came out. The Warhammer episode was dope. Felt a lot like fan films that are on YouTube, but sick. Excited for Cavill's live action. So I did watch, enough people were talking about it. I watched the Warhammer episode of Secret Level, and it plays out like a fan film. It does. It's all computer generated. It was pretty fucking cool. It was pretty cool. So on Amazon Prime, there's a thing called Secret Level, Chris. And it's oh my God, why am I?
I've seen the trailer. It looks like it's a video game, right? Like
well, there's a Pac-Man. There's a Pac-Man episode. There's a Dungeons & Dragons episode. There's a Warhammer. And I think there's some other video games that I don't recognize, even though I'm a massive gamer. But it's an anthology series. It's an anthology series. The Pac-Man one was weird. It was weird. And I didn't see the Dungeons & Dragons one yet. But the Warhammer one, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Just a bunch of killing. B-Chain315 for $10. Hail, do you have any favorite non-actor cameos in a film? I love the pro motocrossers in Charlie's Angels since most peeps have no clue who they are. It just came across Twitter. Spies Like Us. Chris, remember Spies Like Us?
I remember the song.
Doctor. So in that scene, they go to a doctor. They go to a bunch of doctors in the tent, and it's all like it's Ray Harryhausen and art, like major old art designers and massive creatives from. But my big one was Ray Harryhausen being in Spies Like Us as a cameo. Spies Like Us. Who sang that song again? Was it?
Paul
McCartney? No.
It was someone weird. Was it Queen? I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll find it.
Spies Like Us theme.
Damn it. You're going to get it before me.
Paul McCartney.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. Oh my God.
Fucking Paul McCartney. Yeah.
Weird.
Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase. B-Chain315 for $10. Thank you again. I have a Christmas movie suggestion for you guys. It's called Klaus. It's one of the best Christmas movies of all time and a Netflix original, surprisingly. Says Dawnbreaker, $5. All right. Albert Not a Retro for $2. 1992 space movie. Enough said. There you go. Albert Not a Retro. By the way, Shout Studios is showing Eastwood movies. Oh, awesome. There needs to be a 4K Outlaw Josie Wells, but a good transfer. Corey Wilson, Star Trek 2009 is just a remake of Star Wars. It is attempting to make Star Trek Star Wars, and that's what Chris was talking about. You kept on trying to make other things.
Bingo.
What was the fucking Acolyte supposed to be a mashup of? Frozen and Kill Bill.
And fanfic.
Instead of Star Wars. What is Rings of Power? It's fanfic. It's fanfic.
Well, it's this whole thing of like, make it your own. You do Star Trek, but make it your own, or I'm going to make it about me.
Yeah.
Which it's like, that's why all this stuff sucks. You have to respect the source material and the original creators. And I think that's why I listen to a lot of Denis Villeneuve interviews. I really feel like he's stuck close to Herbert. He's doing his own thing, which I have problems with, but in one aspect, but he's trying to be more true to Herbert's vision than the books, actually. So part 3 will be weird, I predict. But of Dune.
Did you finish the Dune series?
I only got to book. I started reading book.
No,
5.
the TV series. Sorry.
Oh no, I dropped off. I watched the first 4 episodes. I pieced out. I don't care.
And you're
really
a fan.
bad.
You're a Dune fan.
I'm a
massive
fan.
Dune fan.
I think Denis is like, okay, I guess you can make that, but I don't think he doesn't have a lot to do with it.
I'm telling you right now, I there's parts of Zaslav I like because he's a nuts and bolts kind of guy and understands like how to make money, but creatively Warner Brothers is still making stupid decisions. They probably shouldn't have greenlit this fucking Dune show like at all. You definitely should have kept the 2 episodes on fucking House of the Dragon. That was just fucking stupid. You got a big hit with Penguin. It's a limited series. It's not going to get a second season. And we're not going to get the fucking Batman 2 for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So when they get a win, they don't know what to fucking do because they make these knee-jerk decisions, right? And love or hate Snyder, it wasn't his fault that they made a knee-jerk decision with his work after his daughter committed suicide. All right?
Yeah.
It was Warner Brothers' fault. It's always been Warner Brothers' fault. Warner Brothers let The Rock bring Henry Cavill in, and behind their backs, they were doing the James Gunn deal. That's Warner Brothers' fault.
Yeah.
So Gunn is behind the gun, and believe me, Gunn fans. There's a section of Gunn fans that are no, they think they're different from Snyder fans. They're not. They're not. Very passionate people. Very passionate people who lost their fucking minds when I said, Gunn's DCU is not off to a good start. Or great start. I said great start.
Yeah, Creature Commandos. The trailer looks all right. I don't know.
It's meh. We'll see how it develops. I just don't think he's suited for writing television. Peacemaker season 1 was not good. It was not good. And the dialogue, everything is flat in it. It kind of reminds me of War of the Rohirrim. It's just something, we want to do this fun thing. Let's just make it fucking animated, and we're not going to care that much about it. It's going to be interesting if anybody sees War of the Rohirrim, the conversation that's going to be had, because it's going to be compared to Rings of Power. It's going to be compared to Rings of Power.
By the way, it's better than Rings of Power?
Sure. It is.
It's like, but that's a low bar, so
doesn't make it good.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So I think that I'm not, you have your opinion. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of girl boss.
Yeah.
It just is. So I would say it's the difference between girl boss and Mary Sue. So girl boss is insufferable. So Hera's not insufferable. Like, she likes her brothers. She likes her dad. She just does everything better than them. Is freaking great. Yes. She's a brilliant strategist. She's a brilliant swordswoman. She's the best writer. She can feed the fucking eagles. She can do everything. She can just do everything.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Review comes out tomorrow. God. Which makes it a bigger disappointment, if that makes sense. Rings of Power, I expected to suck in season 2. I heard somebody, I think it was, I love Andre over at Midnight's Edge. I heard somebody mention that he said it's based, and not based on, it's based. I disagree. I thoroughly disagree. I completely disagree. Just liking your father and have reverencing for does not make something based. Especially when, wait for the review. I explain exactly what. Her existence subverts and destroys every written about character in the story. Her mere existence. But then they take it up to 11. And Chris, I could argue she's a lesbian. You saw it.
Yes.
I could argue she's a lesbian.
They set up potential romantic entanglements, and then they're kind of just...
No, they're very clear. She's like, we're just friends.
Right.
And she
it's
states
weird.
out loud at one point, I don't want to marry any man.
Yeah.
That's a line.
Okay.
So they snuck it in. They knew what they were doing. Don't tell me they didn't. So I've lost a lot of respect for Philippa Boyens, who only wrote the story, right? She only wrote the story years ago, by the way, and it's been rewritten. This thing's been in production for a long time. Since 2021. 60 animation companies worked on it at the end to get it out. And that's why. So what did you think of the animation, Chris?
It varied. Some of it was like, that was actually cool. That's epic. And some of it is also like, oh, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's inconsistent.
Super inconsistent.
Like they had maybe different teams, and it's like, well, you do the money shots here, and we'll have so-and-so do the talking scenes that are basic.
Watch.
So was
Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings is on Max right now.
Yeah.
Fucking all-time classic. Yes, I own about 10 cells from that movie. Thanks, Tom from Midnight's Edge. He showed me Ralph Bakshi's eBay store one time. He's all, look what's on here. I'm like, you motherfucker. Do you know how much money this is going to cost me? So over the course of 3 years, I've got 10 cells.
Oh, nice.
They're awesome. They're all pretty much Gandalf. I pretty much got all the Gandalf ones. But yeah, I love that movie. I love that movie. I remember when I was sparking bowls and watching a VHS bootleg copy of that back in the 80s when I was a kid. Albert Not a Retro, 1990 space movie. Star Trek 2009 is just a remake. Razorhead for 10 euros says, been watching Farscape again. Had forgotten how good sci-fi could actually be. Dude, Farscape is top five TV show for me. And I got into it way late. And fucking love it. I'm rewatching, I was just talking about this, Babylon 5 again. I love it. I know there's the DS9 versus Babylon 5. Well, I think, if put a gun to my head, DS9's better. But I love Babylon 5. The whole Shadow War thing is cool. And if you've read a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire, you can see where George got some ideas for the White Walkers and the others. And there's similarities there, for sure.
I definitely miss seeing a show and looking forward to it every week. Star Trek STTNG in the 90s was like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this, and then, when I got good in season 3, it was like, what, this is amazing. Like it got really good. It was a slow burn. There were some, Encounter at Farpoint. There were some standout episodes, but I was digging it. It was different from Star Trek, the original series, but its own thing. And I miss liking a show, and like there's a Thursday night or whatever it was, they're like, you're watching TV. I feel like that habit is gone, just like the habit of going to the movies. We get in like the Penguin, it's like, oh, that was great for that couple months, but like always kind of having a show, and kind of one show would end and there'd be another new show like X-Files like this season, and like, or Simpsons, and I've watched Simpsons.
You'd watch X-Files for half a year.
Yeah, it was just,
it would be half a year. You're with that show every week, and you catch up like 25 episodes. Remember those days?
Yeah, it was like family in a way.
It was
like, and it was amazing.
Oh, and rewatching X. No, and the writing's nowhere near as good as that procedural used to be.
Yeah. Like
some of the acting can be off a little bit, but the actual writing, fucking, if you watch the Murderer's Row, who's on the X-Files, and Star Trek and DS9. And, I just watched an episode by DC Fontana on Babylon 5. May she rest in peace. It's like, these were fucking great shows, still great shows. Effects suck. They're all on the set. I don't care. I'm way more entertained by Babylon 5's effects are shit. And I love that show. I love the show. Londo and Jakar, their whole fucking dynamic is fucking so good. So good. We don't have anything like that. We have we get to like basically consume some binge thing that comes out, and you're done watching it in a week and you're on to the next thing, and it's just not going to help the longevity. You have to keep That's the other thing that's going to be not sustainable in the future, Chris. Dropping even $100 million on a TV show that gets lapped up in a weekend that nobody talks about.
This is why the Dune prophecy thing is so, the actors are good. The actors are good. The effects, I mean, it looks pretty. It looks epic. It's beautiful. The effects are great by all standards. And for the most part, most shows, the effects are really good. Skeleton Crew, it's the writing. The writing is so subpar. Dune Prophecy is so boring. I mean, I would lose track of threads because I didn't care.
Yeah.
You did not hook me. It's really, it's kind of sad because the idea of a Dune show, like, I'm all about it. I am all about it. I'm on the legendary website looking at buying Dune Christmas stockings. That actually exists. That's a real thing. I know it's stupid. It's stupid. But I'm just saying, like, they have not mentored a new generation of writers to be able to take over.
You're right. And
we're going through we went through a golden age. We are past the golden age of TV. We're past it. We're now, I don't know, are we back to the Bronze Age or Stone Age?
I think you're in Hollywood's in a creative depression and has been for a long time. It's just about recognizing it. So we were recognizing it earlier going, God, why is the writing bad? Then we found out why the writing is bad. They were hiding a bunch of inexperienced writers. Why were they hiring a bunch of inexperienced writers? Well, they were cheaper and they were pushing through diversity initiatives that would give them tax breaks and good ESG scores. So that's why we're getting bad writing. They were pushing out the good writers. Why? A lot of them were white males. But then they went away from the white males and they start getting rid of the black males and start letting that in because being black wasn't good enough for these diversity. You now had to have 2 steps. So you have to be black and gay or black and trans. And then that makes your talent pool go to nothing, go to absolutely nothing.
Exactly. The black straight male is now the new white.
Yeah. Welcome, brothers. You're welcome here, by the way.
Yeah, we'll hang out.
But no, when I have liberal creators hitting me up behind the scenes going, I can't do this woke shit anymore. This is liberal. These are people, and that's the thing. These are people who still vote for Kamala, and they don't understand. They haven't made the connection. But they'll reach out to me and go, yeah, I was going to do the show, and the studio dictated like who I can put on my writing staff. It's like I can't work that way. And you have to be Taylor Sheridan to get around it. You know, they try to push that shit on. Taylor Sheridan pretty much writes his shit alone or with one other guy. He doesn't use writing room. And maybe that's a better way to go. I guess it depends on the show and depends on who's in charge. But yeah, so we started discovering why. And now it's a cascade effect to where all the good writers are either doing something else, completely given up, and during this time, this last 10 years, you weren't cultivating new writers, which is even deadlier. You can have an era of shitty writing as long as you have a new group coming in. You don't have a minor leagues. You don't.
Yeah, that mentoring is so important. You got to pass on that knowledge. I mean, there are things that humanity has accomplished. When you look at, I don't know that we're building anything today that will be here in 1,000 years. I saw Gladiator 2 last night at a screening with, I saw the film with a friend. It was the second time I'd seen the movie. Chris Nolan was there interviewing Ridley. And just looking at the architecture, he talks about like shooting in Morocco and how things exist there because different eras, I don't know. Are we building anything now that will be here in 1,000 years? I don't know the way we are, you know?
No. What did they say? Randall Carlson talked about like what would still be standing in America. And it's pretty much anything made out of stone. So Mount Rushmore would still be around and any stone structure. I don't know how many we have. A lot of foundations would still be around probably, but buildings, no. 1,000 years, no.
So it's really remarkable when you look at the Roman Empire. Yes, men think about the Roman Empire. They do. It's like this romanticized era where everyone speaks in British accents. Anyways, I just, that struck me. Like, the Colosseum is there.
It's still
Like,
there.
Structures are there.
Have you gone to see any of that stuff?
I have not. I have not
Oh.
been. I've never been to Italy. I've been to a lot of places.
Have been to UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
You've never been to
Paris.
Italy? Okay.
I have not been to Italy. I've been to Germany, other places.
Well, I haven't been to Italy proper. I've been to Sicily. So.
Okay, I have not been. I will go someday.
It's amazing when you see that stuff, and you just stare at it, and you're like, I'm touching a rock that's minimum 2,500 years old, and it's still standing here. How?
There are statues of topless women
everywhere.
Ancient porn exists to today.
We used to be a proper world. I haul pipe in oil fields. The last scene in Landman was stupid. Calling someone, I can imagine if you actually work in oil, you're probably like, fuck this show. And I completely recognize that.
Oh, really?
Calling someone like be with that for that. Mixed pipe isn't a big deal. It takes 2 hours to fix. Then standing on to off him. Plenty of other ways to get hurt. There are, but I still love the show. But like Three Bear Thunder, respect to you. You're a working man. I'm going to sip a coffee for the working man.
Hell yeah.
I know it's total bullshit. Like wells aren't blowing up all the time and stuff. It's a fantasy. You know, Yellowstone. It's not like ranchers are like offing people and take them to the train station and murdering people all the time. But it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, if you're an oil worker, you're going to be like, motherfucker. It's like when I watched Comic Book Men, that stupid TV show about the comic book shop. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah. It was all very overproduced. You could tell. You're going to bring in your collectible. You're going to be here. It's all like, dude, it's a movie.
You can make if you have somebody who has the time, you plant your ass back. This is back in the day in my comic shop or anybody's comic shop from even 15 years ago for a year. And you film footage, you could put together 9 half-hour episodes of hilarity, fucking hilarity.
Like that Dominic Pulcino cartoon that he did of us.
Yeah.
He did a few episodes. Like, that's how you would do it. That was awesome. That first episode was the best one.
It would be
just do that.
My Dinner with Andre for nerds.
Yeah.
That's
super in-depth, deep conversations about, autistic nerd shit.
Yep.
For like, that's what you want.
Albert, not a retro. By the way, Shout Out Studios now has these two movies. I already read that one and read that one. Warhammer 40K confirmed with Henry Cavill. That's good. Darth Gavel. Nate Scott for 10 British pounds. Clearing out some old boxes after making space for my girlfriend's stuff in my flat. And I just found my Fellowship 2 Towers of Return of the King cinema tickets from when I was a teen. Nostalgia. Oh, frame those things, man. That's awesome. I couldn't take an exam without thinking about the scene where they take the Foreign Service exam. Which one is that? Warren Van Eagle for 2. Sorry, that I didn't know what that was in reference to. Probably something we were talking about earlier, and I'll think of it later. Of course, Matthew Hammond's telling me to watch Stargate. Thank you, Matthew. Darth Gavel for $2. Wherever I read that one. Cherry Lane 139000 for $5 says, "Is it because wokeness went to mainstream? What's the difference between Hollywood blunders versus the SK social commentary films like Squid Game and Parasite?" Those are fine. I think it's because woke went mainstream. I think that's a better description. But something like Parasite and Squid Game, those things could totally exist, no problem, right? It's when you try to infuse that in something that's been established it's never been there. And then you're infusing the same themes, the same rotated themes, oppressed, oppressor. You could, like when you're watching a movie, even if it's original, and there's a black female lead and a white guy gets in the room, and of course she's a police detective. He's obviously the bad guy. Like that's That's how recognizable it gets. It gets recognizable and predictable. For example, Rings of Power. When I heard Jar Jar Abrams people were involved, I made a joke 2 years before it came out. So it's 2 years before it came out. It's in my video. I'm like, Galadriel is going to be in full body armor, fucking slaying orcs, leading a full battalion of all female Numenorians that are going to be diverse. And I was mostly right on a joke. Like they leaned into the meme, but just not in the good way. That's what it means. All right. Like as far as political thrillers, if some documentary, if some guy wants to, do a documentary about the healthcare, like that's just whatever. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the imbalance and the inconsistency. It's totally okay for one side to do something, but it's not okay for the other side to do something, because for many years, that other side, being Republican, center right, whatever, was considered Nazis. So you just completely othered them with your head fiction, so you don't have to have a debate over ideas, because on the left, the ultra progressives just thought the science was settled on other, and their ideology was settled. They thought they just rolled out of the rack 100% right about everything. There's no need to have a conversation with Nazis. They need to be punched. It's like, bro, there's no fucking Nazis to punch. You're punching ghosts. And what it is, if we really want to get into it, it's a deep-seated insecurity when you don't want to debate people. It's a deep-seated insecurity when you've convinced yourself about you're right about everything. There's some childhood trauma in there or something that I really don't give a shit enough to think about that much. But that's what we're dealing with in Hollywood. They use the term othered. It's their fucking term. They othered half the country. And now they're dealing with the consequences. Because it turns out now they're faced the reality that they were fucking wrong about almost everything. How does that feel, Chris, when you wake up in the morning and they feel like they're 100% right about everything, and it turns out most of everything they believed, because they found one funnel of shit to get their information, was complete bullshit? Yeah, must be rough.
It sucks.
Must be rough. I said no thanks when I heard Venom eats brains. Oh, that's a toy. I have a toy that says, I want to eat your brains. Venom, Morbius, and Kraven in a Sony Webb's Spiderverse aren't villains. I think the plan was to bring them together under Madam Web as a team. Yeah, for one, those are all villains. They're all essentially villains. Venom starts out as a villain, and you're making them heroes. Kraven is not a hero. He's not an anti-hero. Kraven is a villain. For X-Ray Girl to get out of the basement, keep up the good work, team, for $20. That goes into your out of the basement. No, she's relegated to the basement till I say so. So sandwich could have saved $500 million. Women never underestimate the power of a good sandwich. With great power comes great responsibility, says Michael Fields for $5. You're right. Dude, a couple of sandwiches could have saved two respective studios, in a brief conversation with Chris Gore, $1.5 billion.
Star Wars.
Smooth the DJ for €2 says, looks like an alt cover for Shades of Grey. Albert Not a Retro. What about the dominatrix stuff in Spock's brain? Albert Not a Retro. Why did they even bring in Michelle Yeoh at all? Should be Linda Park as Empress Hoshi Sato from Star Trek Enterprise Mirror episode. Because they probably didn't watch it, Albert Not a Retro. Lost on the Mountain Main of Angel Studios. That's what it's called. Lost on Mountain Main. Thank you, Jim P. Hi, King Feanor, Alpha Chad of Middle Earth. Nice job on that ratio. Completely ignored your wife to get that ratio on Twitter, but I respect that. Listening at work. Hope everything is well. Hope everything is well with you, brother. Clank, I'm a tank for $5 says, if you are a counselor Troy fan, look up the whip fight in the Wycliffe Lady in 1983, and you will thank me. So the Wick F, is it the Wicker? Is it Wick F? Did he spell that right, X-Ray Girl?
I don't know.
Okay.
Let me check.
Null Face for $1.99. Stop noticing. We will stop noticing. Okay, Chris, you got an interview to get to. I've got videos to work on. What do you got coming up, brother?
Hollywood on the Rocks on the Film Threat channel will go live at 1. Justine joins us at 1:30. We will have a good conversation. So there you go. Join me there with Alan Ing the Merciless, who I do chat with on occasion, daily.
Daily?
Daily on occasion.
Like hourly on occasion?
No, not daily. I leave him alone on weekends, but yeah. Alan's. I'm gonna see him tomorrow too. Hang out.
That's good. That's good. We love
There you
Alan.
go.
We love Alan. X-Ray Girl, what do you got coming up?
Probably going to be playing the Asian dating game at some point. Maybe Friday or Path of Exiles. We'll see.
The Asian dating game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very special. Az played it, and I kind of wanted to play it after he played it. Also, there was Brendan Lucas for £5 says Sonic 3 getting good reviews.
Good.
And Alan Fernandez for $2 says penis, penis, penis. Albert Not a Retro for $5 says Marina Sirtis is in a movie called Wicked Woman. She's nude a lot in it, and there's a whipping scene.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go.
That's the good Star Trek. That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. There you go. Sure, she's proud of that now. All right. I've got a War of the Rohirrim review coming out this Friday. I'll be working on the top 5 pretty much most of the month.
Cool.
Yeah. I got another top 5 and maybe a Kraven review. We'll see. But we have Friday Night Tights with
RMB.
RMB. Robert
wait.
Meyer Burnett. I think it's a good week to have him on. It's a good week to have Robert on. We love Robert. Yeah. So, and watch Chris in a couple hours.
Yeah, couple hours.
You watch Chris. You can Rip and Silverback, I think it's today. You can watch until Chris shows up. So thanks, everybody. This will be re-uploaded on Nerdrotic Live. It's also on Spotify. I don't know did we fix the Apple issue yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, we should fix that.
In.
God, I don't want to have to pull out my fucking Mac. I'm going to have to do that. We should probably fix that today. So, yeah, apparently it's not on Apple Music because the link broke for some fucking reason. So we're trying to fix that. But it's on Spotify. It's on Audible and all the other places. So thank you very much. Thanks to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat donation. You help keep the lights on. Thanks to all the lurkers and everybody who participated. Love you guys. See you next week.
Bye.